Hey, Mim.
Hey, Scarlett.
Welcome back, guys. You're listening to Style Over Substance.
We're just two friends talking about our experiences working inside the fashion industry and also our observations from outside the fashion industry. It's sometimes serious, but it's definitely always a good laugh.
Always. We release new episodes every Tuesday.
So subscribe on your favourite podcast listening platforms.
Just having a little spring clean, are we there, Mim?
No, because you know what? I cover my camera and now it's got like all
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
What, so you don't have to turn it? Oh.
No, because you know people can like hack cameras. No, but it's true.
You're a cynic and I don't take any precautions. So, you know, somewhere,
I'm not a cynic. That's
in the middle, you know. Well, actually, Mark Zuckerberg covers his camera. So that tells you something.
Have you seen on like TikTok and stuff and online where people show you there are websites you can go on to like log in to public cameras and people's cameras on their computer?
I mean, I don't undress for my laptop, so we're fine.
You probably do. You probably have.
I don't, because I actually get really paranoid
that someone's watching you.
No, that work can hack. So if I ever got like, I wouldn't want my bosses to be able to. Like, it's that thing of like, can they hack and like see us at any time?
Probably.
But I make sure that I don't. Yeah. But anyway.
Oh, it's recording. It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, I do cover my camera, and there was like glue residue, so it's off now.
That's okay. That's all right. You need to find like the correct kind of sticker or covering situation. But
yeah, I do.
You should use a plaster.
No, I use like those labels, them little labels.
But like a plaster has sticky either side, but over the camera you could put the like.
I do have plasters, so I will use that. Good thinking.
Thank you.
I like
Thank
it.
You.
Cybersecurity is important.
What's your fashion story?
My fashion story just warmed my heart when I came across it this week, because it just made me think, like, it doesn't matter how awkward and how different you are from other people. If you're passionate about something and you do it in an unapologetic way, sometimes, not always, I don't want to be like overly naive about this, but sometimes people can see that like passion and want to be there for you, and like you get opportunities open up for you because you're like different. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think in a time when, you know, for a lot of people making a living online, you feel compelled to follow trends because it's the trends that bring you into the limelight and help your like online career if you want to be an influencer. So very often, as we've seen, is like everyone's doing the same thing online. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's viral reels that go around, or everyone hops on that same TikTok trend,
or the same music, or the same reel trend and stuff like that. So we see all these like copycats all the time. But there is this, I want to call him a young man, but he's not a young man. He's like, he has that like old soul kind of vibe. But this really big UK famous TikToker goes by the name of Francis Bourgeois.
Oh, yes. Love him.
He is a young man in his early 20s, and he's passionate about trains to like and I don't say this in a negative way, but to a childlike level. He's passionate about trains and the running of trains. And
he's got an innocence about it.
Yeah, an innocence, exactly. And yeah, so he makes TikToks about trains and what they're called and where they run, and he waves to the train drivers and goes to different stations,
hoping for a little
yeah, giving that honk action. If you don't live in the UK, then like in the UK, well, across Europe, to be honest, but we have a lot of trains, a lot of stations. It's very much part of like everyday life, and so we just think, oh, it's mundane.
It's another train.
It's a train. It's like a dodgy southern train. It never runs on time. But he loves all this stuff. Anyway, so you might remember that Gucci had a collaboration with North Face, and they came out with those tents and those puffers and all that sort of that outdoor wear that was like seeped in that 70s aesthetic, like Girl Guides and Boy Scout aesthetic. And Francis is part of their like latest advert that was made in partnership with High Snobriety. And so they've got this advert where he is the train conductor, and then all these models dressed in Gucci North Face like jump on the train and go to the countryside. And
but he actually looks great. He doesn't look out of place. He's actually a handsome, or like more like quite a beautiful. Like he's got quite a pretty fit. They've made him look really pretty, because on his TikToks he often uses that. Well, he uses that kind of whatever that camera is. Is it fisheye, but the opposite?
It's like fisheye, but it's right on his forehead, so you get this downward angle.
So you don't really see his. I mean, you obviously see his face in other videos or other aspects of it, but that's kind of what you think of when you think of him, as that angle. But he looks actually really quite beautiful. Yeah. In these in this fashion film.
Yeah, you're right. He does. He suits the part, and his skin looks very clear.
His skin is beautiful,
glowing. Yeah. I mean, he's got like pins and badges and this ring, and obviously everything he's wearing is probably Gucci, and it's like very expensive and whatnot. But
I hope he got to keep some stuff.
Yeah, same. I hope so too. But yeah, I thought it was just a really nice, like, it was a moment where you were like cheering for someone, like, when you watch or whatever, and you see them from like their beginnings to where they get to, and you're like, wow, I'm so happy for your progression, sort of thing. It was like we all saw that and thought, yes, Francis.
Yeah, I think it's also, I hope we see it a bit more where he is a hot topic, and so Gucci have responded to that. And also it's quite unusual for them to respond to it sort of in a British way. I don't know how big he is in America, but I'm guessing he must be, because he did a collab with Joe Jonas. Joe Jonas joined one of his videos. So he's suddenly like train spotting in like the UK. It's like, I'm joined by my friend Joe, who then like is just cheering trains with him.
That's crazy. I didn't even know that. I will say that I think that Gucci is very good at delving into like niche subcultures.
Yeah. But I mean, he comes on my TikTok timeline and I don't look at trains, Yeah.
But Gucci in the past, I remember a few years ago, they had a fashion film video thing, and it was based on I don't know if you know anything about like Northern Soul. Is it Northern Soul? Yeah. And it's like this dance. It's a genre of music. It's very popular in like the Midlands of the UK, and people used to go to like town halls, like back in the day when you used to go to a dance, quote unquote, in town. And there's like a certain style of dancing, and it's very niche to a UK culture of like years back.
Yeah.
And most people probably don't even know about that sort of thing. And for a big international designer brand to be like, because they're very much into 70s aesthetic. That's basically Northern Soul. And so I think they're quite good at like not Americanizing everything, Yeah,
and you know what? That's just what you get sort of your marketing department to do, right? Is trounce through who are the people who keep coming up but are the underdog, because you're right. We love, especially in the UK, we love an underdog story. We love like small town guy done good, that kind of a heroic story of kind of just this really unassuming guy who is now we love those little hero stories. So I wonder, the sky's the limit for this dude.
Yeah, definitely. What is so much your fashion story?
So I sent this to you, but I don't think it's obviously clocked on your radar. No. Molly May alluded to the fact that Pretty Little Thing is going to be showing at Fashion Week.
Oh, yes. I remember you sent me that.
Oh. And I think that's disgusting. Like, I think Topshop did some fashion shows.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing, Topshop. Say what, I mean, no one likes Philip Green, rightly so. Mm-hmm. But, and yes, they would have been contributing to fast fashion in ways and but Topshop was much more of like a UK constitution, institution, like a pillar of our high street. Mm-hmm. Like everyone between the age of like sort of 12 to 16 owned something from Topshop, and they did their luxe range, right? Or their boutique range was what was on the red carpet. Mm-hmm. The runway. I don't want to see a luxe line. I don't even want to see anything from Pretty Little Thing on a runway. I think they're now taking this too far, because it just means that money gets you places, because it's really expensive to show at Fashion Week. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And so now what you're telling me is these cheap knockoffs, because it's all inspired by something that somebody else has designed and dwindled through the knockoff chain and drizzled down, is going to be gracing the same runway that someone who has worked their arse off to get on and earn that slot also is on. It really irks me, just really badly.
I agree. I think, you're right. You are right. And I think, sadly, not many people are going to see it from that perspective.
No.
Worked in fashionable design, and you kind of have that.
Yeah. It's blood, sweat and tears to put on a fashion show, to get your collection right. And they don't work in collections. They probably have like 10,000 things on their website, if not more. A designer purposely designs a collection, and that's pretty much what you see on their runway, and that's what they sell. There might be a few iterations of colorways or a few looks that don't make it, but for the most part, that is it. And it is curated, it is considered.
Yeah.
And I don't know what we're going to see, but I'm annoyed.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. Okay, well, the first point is it also legitimizes them as a company and as a brand, quote unquote, a brand that designs stuff, as you said, when really they're just knockoffs of other people's designs from the year prior, let's say. And then it kind of, I think with them trying to seem more legitimate, maybe they're thinking that people won't see their indiscretions in terms of not paying people and operating these sweatshops in the UK and all that. They'll just brush that under the rug because now they have like a premium line where people actually get paid properly, and you're paying a fair price for the garments. It's like, what H&M does with like H&M Conscious. So you buy into that range feeling good about yourself because, better fabrics, natural fabrics, less water, all of that stuff. Well, really 95% of their business is sweatshops in Bangladesh.
Yeah.
And all of that stuff. And don't get me wrong, I'm not judging people who, buy fast fashion, because I buy fast fashion as well. But let's not pretend what it is. Let's not encourage this industry which just exploits people to no end. And then also when you sent me that post, Molly May, I think it just gave more credit to Molly May.
Yeah.
Like designing something.
Yeah, like she's like, it's like she kind of thinks that she's done this, right? Or like, yeah, maybe she's approved some of the looks.
I'm so confused.
What I think it will be is curated looks from their ranges, right? Because that's all it can be. I don't know if it's going to be day wear, because also let's not remember, let's not forget, this was born as your £8 like night out dress website.
Mm-hmm.
So don't try selling me a parka for 30 quid that's going to explode or whatever, you know, because it's highly flammable. I don't know. I just think don't get me wrong, you don't get anywhere by not pushing boundaries. And we're going to learn that soon with our topic today. But this is a bit of a step too far for me, because then what are we going to see? Is Boohoo going to join the ranks?
Well, we've already seen
Misguided.
We've already seen Shein have that TV fashion competition show. Remember, hosted by Chloe. And these companies have a lot of money to spend. And that's the thing, like a lot of companies, you make your money however you can, you know, using all the tricks of the trade. And then once you're filthy rich, you can buy influence. You have all this cachet, you have cultural relevance because these people are wearing your stuff. It doesn't matter how bad you are, how like terrible you are as a company, you can buy that, like, as I said, social cachet. And that's what they're doing. Like now they're part of London Fashion Week, which is a big fucking deal. But it's easy to do when you've got like billions behind you.
Yeah, and I guess when you said that, I can see why they'd want to do it, because regular folk like you and me look at London Fashion Week and can only dream. And what if you could actually afford it for the price of $9.99?
No, they're going to up their price, honestly. It's not going to be $9.99.
No, but like there's going to be a mix, right? I'm guessing. And yeah, I don't know if they are going to up their price. Does that then alienate the reason that people shop there in the first place? I don't know.
I don't think so. Remember when H&M was doing all these collabs with legitimate designers?
Yeah, people love about it. Yeah.
And people were queuing up to buy £300 items, which were H&M clothing.
Yeah.
And there was so much buzz about it. And
she's not Shein, but like she's not these designers, man.
She's not, but
maybe she is.
They can charge a premium and people will buy it.
Because you saw it on the runway.
Oh, anyway.
But I can already picture, like, you know, they're going to have their throw of quite modern Molly May approved influencers, you know. And I tell you now, I will roll in my grave if Anna Wintour goes to this show. I will eat my hat. I don't know. There's no way, right?
Well,
there's no way.
Well, I don't know, to be honest. I think honestly, I think Anna, I don't know her, but from what
I
you don't? I don't know the lady, but from my perspective, she'll go wherever hype is and power and fashion influences. She's not the best dressed woman. She's not like a photographer. She's not a designer. She sells magazines, you know, so that's what it is. And another thing is
if Molly May goes to the Met Ball.
No, that's a joke. You know what? When you sent me that post about this, and then I went, because I don't follow Molly May, I wasn't aware that she had 6.8 million followers on Instagram. I was just like, what? I thought maybe like 1.5 million, but that's ignorant of me, isn't it? That's so silly. She has so many followers. Yeah. It's insane. Anyway.
But I also, following sort of the controversy about her on a podcast and the Daily Mail comments section about her, I bet half of them hate her. You know, like, that's the problem now, right? Is that just because they're your follower doesn't mean they love you. They might love to hate you.
Yeah, for sure. But
they still might buy that dress.
Yeah, exactly. You know, one day you're scrolling like, oh God, her again. Oh, but the shoes are nice. Yeah.
Oh, crikey. So yeah, I'm raging. There will be a part 2 to this when we see this show.
I mean, when do we never talk about Molly May?
I know she gets a lot of airtime from us. Maybe we should embargo her. No more Molly May on here.
Oh.
Then what will we talk about?
We talk about lots of things, but it's definitely a running theme.
Yeah.
Us and Chanel, and the us and Molly May PLT debacle.
And boohoo.com.
Yeah.
You know what? That boohoo.com account and their lucky stars, they don't get as trashed by us now. The Molly Mays come along.
Yeah, that's true.
We interrupt this broadcast to say, go follow us on Instagram. Our handle is @StyleOverSubstance pod. There you'll find our weekly fashion topics, all the stuff that we discuss in each episode, and our polls.
Or reach out to us at StyleOverSubstancePodcast@gmail.com for new suggestions of topic discussions, or even to share your own fashion stories. We also have a YouTube channel, Style Over Substance Podcast, if you'd rather listen to our episodes over there.
Back to the episode.
So this week we are discussing the man, the myth, the legend, Kanye West, and his fashion career.
Yep.
So when is he not the center of a lot of stuff? But at the moment he seems to be in the news quite a lot. There's loads of drama with him and Kim. Whether he was invited to a birthday party.
Fabricated, most of it. I believe it's,
Yeah. But he also is obviously in fashion. And I think it's really interesting to talk about sort of his journey in fashion. It's not simple. No. It's quite interesting.
It is a really interesting one. I think what characterizes or like differentiates Kanye West from other musicians is that his career in the limelight is just as much about music as it is about fashion. Do you know what I mean? Like, when you look at his career, he was just as passionate about clothing and pursued that simultaneously while making music and being really successful at that. And we see even up till today, merch, which we talked about last week, merch kind of always accompanies his albums in one way or another, whether he's releasing a collection and his music is the backdrop music, or he's releasing an album and he's got t-shirts to go with it. Like, there's always that. And I don't think really I can think of anyone else who's been so successful in both at the same time.
I think it shows how his mind works though, right?
Yeah.
And I don't mean that he's clearly insane, but genius and crazy.
Yeah.
Close together. But I think it shows that, and I hate this word for what it encompasses, but he's an artist. And I don't mean like music artist, or like, he is the whole word of an artist.
Yeah.
That's how he thinks. He thinks creatively. He has a vision, and it's not just narrow.
Yeah.
Like you said, if he has a vision for an album, he's already thinking about how something can go alongside that. And as we'll discuss, often collaborations match up with his latest album, or he uses a fashion show to drop his latest single. It works together. And I think that has been part of the success, because whether you're a fan of his music or you're a fan of his clothes, he's trying to get you involved in both of them.
Yeah.
And so and rally support, or just, I think it also rallies a buzz, because one of his Yeezy collections was essentially an album viewing, like a preview party.
Yeah.
So why, what an honor. If you're a huge fan of his music, you turn up to his shows in the hope that you're going to get a new song or a new whatever.
Yeah.
And that's really clever. Really, really clever. He might be bonkers, but he's also really fucking smart.
Yeah. Definitely.
I don't want him to be president.
No.
But I think in his lane of artistry, he's really fucking smart.
Yeah. I agree. So I was thinking, maybe we'll go from the beginning and go through, and we can kind of discuss at each points of his life what our thoughts are and how it's come to pass.
I also, at the end, I have a theory. Okay.
Is this one of your Scarlett's? You've heard it here first, guys.
I just have a theory. I had to write it down in case I forgot it, but just so you know.
Okay, so in our Virgil Abloh episode, we briefly mentioned how they both internshipped at Fendi in Paris. In Paris? I think, or Milan.
Milan.
And so, Kanye internshipped at Fendi. And I think one of the things about Kanye is that he, especially in the first half of his career in the limelight, is that he was keen to work under people and shadow them and observe what his friends were doing. His friends who had jobs in higher places, there was this kind of seeking knowledge about the industry. That's kind of what I gathered from learning about Kanye. But anyway, he was internshipped at Fendi. And there he met Virgil Abloh, which kind of sparked this long friendship, which we believe they fell out at some point, or there was jealousy involved, or who knows. But yeah. So I think that's kind of in itself, many people don't know about that. From the beginning, he was learning about luxury fashion and earning his stripes and networking with people who were in the industry.
I think he interned there twice.
Okay.
But I think I'm not sure when the first time was, but I feel like his foray into fashion started around a similar time as his foray into music. And so it's not like this is really pre him releasing music.
Yeah.
He's released College Dropout, an incredible album, but he still thinks it's worth his while to intern and shadow people.
Yeah.
Which is quite an unusual thing for,
I don't know,
would we call him a rapper? I don't know I think he's more than that, right?
I would say a rapper and a producer.
Yeah. But that's not a typical thing that a rapper's doing, right? Releases a really great album, it has pretty good success, and thinks, I know, I want to go shadow somebody at Fendi.
Yeah, of course. And you mentioned the album because he started a line because he was with Rock Nation. They changed their name, but and he started a line called Mascot, which was the kind of emblem that went along with that album. spelt differently.
I love this album, by the way.
Yeah, I know you do. And samples were made, but the line was never fully fleshed out and became a line. And
but I've also seen a few different things. So around that time, he also had some shoe partnerships. So he had one with Nike, and he also had one with Bathing Ape. And it had the mascot. It had the bear mascot on these shoes by Bape. And I remember, I think my brother got like a Bathing Ape t-shirt, and I remember it being like the coolest thing. It was huge. It got referenced in loads of songs. It was massive. And that's another thing I will add. He references clothes in his music. And that's how people knew of another one of his lines, because he references it along with Bathing Ape. And people are like, whoa. And it builds this hype, and it's all interlinked, I think, in his mind. But yeah, I actually feel like we never really know anything about Mascot. Like, that's the first I heard of it. So samples exist, but it was never produced. But I don't think anyone's seen, to our knowledge, samples of that.
And I think his relationship with fashion at this point is really interesting, because, as we said, he always had been interested in luxury fashion. He's coming up with these labels, referencing designer brands in his music. But in his music, he talks about people who are quote unquote poor, who are ignorant enough to want to spend all their money on this stuff.
That's really funny, because that is our society now.
Yeah, he's really critical of our desire to want to prove ourselves by spending a lot of money on clothes. And he says that he does it himself, and it's a dumb thing to do. And it doesn't increase your value by wearing all this Louis Vuitton. And he literally names brands that he's like, you're an idiot if you're going to spend all your money on this shit. But at the same time, he's like collaborating with, as you said, Bathing Ape, and we'll talk about other brands later. But he also creates a label called Pastel, which is a streetwear line. And again, he made samples for more at his performances. So you really get this, like, he's got all these friends in high places.
Well, he for Pastel, he hires Kim Jones, who was Louis Vuitton's like men's artistic director at the time. What?
I know.
Like, but yeah, he's created names in high places. And I actually feel like I remember hearing years ago, and it must be about Pastel, this brand, and that someone knew someone who worked for Kanye, and it was this clothing line, and it had all these people working for it, and like he built it up but kind of didn't take it anywhere. And so then they kind of, it was like they said it was such a weird brand to work for, because spoiler alert, nothing comes of it.
You don't realize that, like, those who make companies or whatever, or design houses or labels, you have to kind of try it a couple times. You have to, like, there are so many stories that you don't get to hear, but someone who's got this, like, say they've got this like multi-million-pound company now, but years ago they started something else and they tried their hand at it and it didn't work out, and it never really came into production or never became an actual product. But you have to start that way. You have to start like doing it and then realizing, okay, this is not for you. This is not what I want to do right now. And so, like, even with Virgil, before Off-White, he had, I can't remember the name of the brand, but it was like, he described it as just an experiment for him. A chance for him to just flesh out ideas and produce things and see how it went.
And fashion is a model that it isn't one size fits all. And so many, it's difficult because he obviously looked at very successful companies, and you can't follow that structure when you're just starting out. There needs to be some sort of all hands on deck, let's like hope it goes well type of mentality, rather than like, we need to have our merchandising director ready. You know, you need to kind of be that winging it until you make it.
and
a bit as well.
Yeah.
But he probably had built the right structure, but it yet wasn't popular enough to sustain, or, you know, you have to learn your mistakes. And like you said, most people who are known for their business success in this life didn't get it with their first business.
Yeah. Exactly.
So keep the dream alive, people.
Yeah. So you mentioned as he developed pieces for Pastel with Kim Jones, who was LV men's director, and a few others who already had established brands as well. But also he developed footwear with Louis Vuitton.
Yeah.
And who was Marc Jacobs at the time was Louis Vuitton's like women's creative director. And so they created footwear. There were 3 like models, let's say. There was one called the Jasper, Mr. Hudson, and Don, who were actually named after like his friends who I believe had like helped him through the process. And like we all remember when Kanye was first like big on the scene, and he used to wear a lot of Louis Vuitton, and he had the backpack as well. And that was his like brand of choice. So to make product, which
and
is
clearly if you're collabing with Marc Jacobs, also working with Kim Jones, there's some history there.
Exactly. But it's also a very authentic product to who you are as well, and like what your brand, your personal branding is. I think also a lot of the time, we've spoken about this when we did like merch episode and things before, but some celebrities come out with products and you're like, why did they do that? Like,
that makes no sense for them.
Yeah, when Kim only started with her makeup line years and years and years after, or like when she started doing Skims, like at a time when you thought, girl, why didn't you do this from the beginning?
Yeah.
You were shapewear. You were body contouring back in like 2013. Why didn't you?
Yeah, her makeup collection came after, like, you've seen Kylie's had success with this.
Yeah. So anyway, so Kanye, obviously he knew what he liked. He'd obviously been experimenting, and a partnership like Louis Vuitton at the time is like no brainer. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
So in 2009, Kanye also worked shadowing the creative director of Gap at the time, which again foreshadows what we've seen them come out with this year, Gap and Yeezy. But again, from like the beginning, he was making those connections with people in high places that would help him sustain a really long career in high fashion. And I don't want to say high fashion, but luxury, let's say. And that kind of mass, you know, working with huge brands. So even as far as like 2008 and 2009, he was working alongside Gap.
Yeah, and I think he also launched his first Yeezy product, the Nike Air Yeezy.
Yeah.
I didn't know how long this term had been around, you know. And also, might I add, hang on, in the space of like a year, he's working on a streetwear line under his own name. He's launched a shoe collab with Louis Vuitton and a Nike collab.
Yeah.
And is doing some work with Gap. Like, and probably making music.
Yeah, exactly.
But also, like, I mean, he really starts with footwear. And so to me, it's no surprise that he's now got probably one of the most famous shoe designs or sought after shoe ever.
Yeah, the Nike, his first like Nikes when they came out, everyone went crazy for them. I've never seen that much
crazy,
over like celebrity endorsed or celebrity led trainers. It was bad.
But I think also he's always introduced stuff again, like through performance. So I think he wore them for like the AMAs, or like he wore them for a performance, and everyone's like, I've never seen those shoes before at Nike.
Yeah.
What are those?
Yeah.
And like, you know,
he always used to wear they were red. He started that massive men's trend. It was like t-shirt, like oversized long t-shirt or something, trap jeans, and then everyone had these bright red trainers, and that went on for a while.
Yeah.
But yeah. And they were his designs.
Yeah.
So also a little thing I didn't know, around about that time, Karl Lagerfeld had actually included Kanye into Chanel's little black jacket exhibition. I mean, come on. Like, he's had a pretty...
Karl knows where it's at, though, you know? I think Karl is somebody who could really picture, and I think he was very artistic in that sense of sort of respecting your something.
Yeah.
And he was good at picking out people and like selecting notable people.
And like seeing talent.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then a couple years after, in 2012, we get to see the next iteration of these Air Yeezy 2, which Nike released. And that was actually the last collaboration he had with Nike. And after that, that's when we saw kind of his outburst of frustration and angst towards an industry that he felt didn't give him enough credit, tried to lowball him in terms of contract and royalties and the potential for him to earn what he believed was the right amount of money for a wildly successful product. And he talks a lot about other stuff, which I thought was absolute nonsense. Like, he compared himself to Walt Disney, and it's like, I hate when people try to like make themselves like...
Oh, but that's him to a T, isn't it?
It's him to a T.
He believes a lot in himself, which is his blessing and his curse.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's it. I will say that I do agree with his level of belief in himself and his level of conviction. Like, I think it was important, as we see with the success of his career once he walked away from the partnership with Nike and his wild success with Adidas, but he did the right thing in being like, they're going to make a killing off me and they just want to give me royalties.
Yeah.
Or like a small amount of royalties. And I believe that I deserve more. And I think when you've worked with a lot of other people and designed a lot of things and created a lot of things, you know that you can always create something new. Like, you don't need this one company to make your life. You can take your skill with you and your creativity and always apply it somewhere else and be like, you know what, I can walk away from this because I know I'll bounce back. And I think he has that level of conviction in himself that allows him to be like, I know my worth and I can get more somewhere else if I just walk away from this.
Yeah, and I think he was probably also being subdued with his creativity, and he's obviously got a lot to offer. And that outburst also comes off the back of, he showed at Paris Fashion Week with a collection, like a self-named collection, and then had sort of followed it up the year after, and it was sort of described by Women's Wear Daily as neither a triumph, neither a train wreck. Sorry, neither a triumph nor a train wreck.
Oh,
so
was that the first Yeezy collection they were from?
No. So this was like a Kanye West collection.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I'm not sure if this was that show that he and Kim sort of have their like start of their romance with or not. I think that might be the first Yeezy season that's the leather one. But it could be one of these.
Yeah, like I think.
But the first Yeezy season isn't Yeezy as we know it now. It was like mental. It was Kim K, basically, that show. But I think the frustration of like the world not getting it was really frustrating for him, because he obviously saw this world, and I think he describes like there's this like hip hop culture of fashion, and the mainstream world doesn't seem to get it, but he lives in the world that does get it and sees that's what people want to wear and want to consume, but he can't like get the other people on board with it yet. And I think he's really frustrated by that.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think the Women's Wear Daily kind of summary of his first collection can be applied to every Yeezy collection.
but also like it's either for you or it's not. And I think that should be fashion. What I like to wear shouldn't be what you like to wear.
Yeah.
It's individuality.
I think the success of the Yeezy collaborations is its impact on other things since. So I don't like Yeezy collections, really. I'm not saying all of it's like trash, but the overall aesthetic of like post-apocalyptic Mad Max, like everything,
all one color,
everything's frayed at the edges, everything's like kind of this stretch material but kind of loosely falling off you at the same time. It is a bit, it's unrealistic for me to wear that sort of thing. And I felt like season after season he was coming out with stuff that was really similar. However,
carbon copy.
I can appreciate that him ushering in years, really, we've been living through years of it. He ushered in this like tonal palette. The beiges, the khakis, the chocolate browns.
He made more colours neutral.
It became neutral everything. And even if you don't wear like Yeezy type clothing,
colour blocking is now a thing.
Chocolate tracksuit right now, that is like directly inspired by those collections he came out with. And everything we wear now is this like monochromed neutral palette, very leggings and sports bra and like stretch material. It's like a simplified version of what he was offering. And then it's not even just clothing, it's like interiors, personal. They've all become like neutral of like the same color spectrum. It's really interesting what's happened. And now I'm not an art or fashion historian, but just living through it culturally, I knew that was a turning point, and we all started applying that sort of Yeezy aesthetic to everything after that.
That's so true. So true.
Also, quick thing, do you remember the hype of Giuseppe Zanotti heels and trainers and how they were everywhere?
Wasn't that because he had them for his first Yeezy show?
Yeah, and he had the heels. They featured Giuseppe Zanotti heels, and Kim used to wear them all the time. And
I genuinely think because his first Yeezy show, it almost shouldn't be called it, because I think it was leather. It was like very Kim inspired. It was almost like the show he was doing to put. I think he said something like, joked that he put that show on to get her to go for it on a date with him.
I think this is a good time to talk about Kanye West muses, because this is another thing about Kanye West. He is self-indulgent. He's all of those things. But he has like had a number of muses in his career. Basically, his muse is the woman he's dating who becomes his mannequin. And he dresses them. And like it or not, he manages to elevate their social status in like Hollywood. We saw it with Amber Rose. We love Amber Rose here. No Amber Rose slander will be tolerated. But she was his like like Amazonian, like shaved head goddess who used to like come on the red carpet with him. And she said herself that he would tell her what she could and couldn't wear and like how she was supposed to act.
We've genuinely seen it on Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
Yeah. I mean, very controlling, but
he has flown. Wasn't it like, was it Paris? He flew somewhere. Maybe he was in Paris. He was elsewhere. He took a flight because he didn't like the outfits she was putting together.
For Kim?
Yes.
Okay. So Kim... Once he had his eyes on Kim Kardashian, he pursued her.
Let us remind ourselves how she used to dress.
Yeah. And Kim was an it girl at that time.
And designers didn't dress her then. They refused to. Remember, this is the woman who Vogue would have died to put on their cover. Designers did not want to dress. And he stepped in.
Exactly. He fancied the pants off Kim. She was already an it girl, but didn't, as you said, didn't have that level of fashion notoriety or fashion cachet or whatever at the time. And then once they got together, she became a fashion girl. Like she was wearing designers she didn't even know about.
Did she even thank him for that, being like the fashion icon award that she got recently? She thanked Kanye for that.
It's true. And then like she was wearing a lot more like fashion forward, curated stuff. And he was her stylist in a way. Like, but didn't he like go through her whole wardrobe and say, keeping this, keeping that, not keeping this, not keeping this, not like basically went through everything.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to redo your whole look. And even to like most recently, I believe he was integral in Kim partnering with really iconic labels like Azzedine Laya and Scarparelli and like vintage Mugler and things like that, like brands that were iconic but not like trendy, but she would wear like archival pieces from these brands. And I don't think if it wasn't for like the fashion knowledge that Kanye imparted on her and exposed her to, she'd be pulling from like, you know, a runway from like 1990 and wearing it today. I think he'd like educated her in that sense, which is massive.
Yeah, I think that he's just done huge things for her career in that sense. I think that fashion's really elevated her. Like you said, I actually forgot that kind of she was a big star, but she's a huge star now. And would that transition have been made if she kind of didn't breach that barrier of like before she kind of, I don't like to use the word tacky, but she, like her dress sense was a bit tacky. She was kind of like,
she was wearing what we were all wearing at the time. Remember?
Yeah. We were all wearing those bodycon dresses or like whatever.
Peplum tops.
Yeah. But she's now, you know, she takes fashion risks. She now dresses like Batman. But yeah, I think she really, it's helped her. She, you know, like even with the Met, she admits the reason that she got invited to it was as his guest.
Yeah.
She only just earned that in the last few years. So it's been a long, slow climb for her. But he's for sure
definitely
just the driving force behind that. And I don't know if there are many people who have that innate desire, drive, or sort of like kudos to get someone else up that ladder the way he did and does.
Yeah, I think it's a vanity project for him, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
I think,
and he's also just that determined, right?
Yeah. I think that he is that determined. If it's associated with him, it's got to look good to his own personal aesthetic.
Yeah.
What pleases his eye. And yeah, I think he did a really good job of it.
For sure.
And then lastly, his current news, who is Julia Fox, who is like his current girlfriend, let's say, and she's wearing all these designers now.
I think I saw them in this like denim outfit really recently, where her like denim is like Madonna-esque cone bra. And then it's like them having matching sort of denim looks. Yeah, I kind of didn't think about how influential he must be. He must be bloody convincing to tell these people how to dress. I don't know if there's many people who could tell me what to wear.
No, but the thing is, if you were dating someone like Kanye West, you can see what it's done with everyone else's career.
But also, you've got to be a kind of person who's prepared to put up with that in the first place.
Exactly. You're not dating Kanye West because your love is sensitive.
Because of his soul.
You know what I mean? Yeah, you have to be that sort of person.
Yeah.
I think you're going to go along with it because, you know what? If anything, it looks like fun dressing in that way. Do you know what I mean? It's more expensive.
I definitely think taking risks, it's like anything in life. This is going to be really profound. If you don't take a risk, you're not gonna get to the heights that you would if you took a risk, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And so you might take some fashion risks and look like an absolute idiot 9 times out of 10. But then there might be that one time that you look like amazing and you feel it, and that lives on. It like creates this like buzz, this serotonin in your system. And like for that one, it's worth it, right? To have that accolade of she wore that then, and that will be remembered.
And it was a moment.
Yeah.
Also, a quick thing I just thought about is how Kanye West differs to maybe other musicians is like when other musicians get big, they become more concerned with how they look.
Yeah.
Like they themselves want to be dressed in the finest things and the best looks and yada, yada, yada. Kanye, he started out very much being like the way he looked and the way he dressed was really important. Yeah. And I feel like as the years have gone on, he's dressed more simple.
More normal.
Yeah. He has those quirky like builder boots.
Or like suddenly puts on a mask that entirely covers his face.
A weird gimp mask. Like
isn't there be like a sequin one as well? Like
really? The wig, yeah.
Yeah.
But I do think he puts more of his effort in his muse.
If you broke down his like regular outfits, he looks like a tradie.
A what?
A tradie. Like a guy who works in trade or construction. He's got like essentially Timberland boots, like worker boots.
Yeah.
He's got like baggy jeans.
Jeans with like paint marks on it.
Yeah. And he's got like kind of like a big oversized like khaki coat or denim jacket.
Yeah.
Like he's not wearing anything where you're like, oh, you know, like at one point he was sort of dressing very like Yohji Yamamoto style. Like there were times where he was really fashion forward.
Yeah.
But he's sort of subdued. Maybe it's because that's the Yeezy vibe. I don't know.
I agree with you. I mean, don't get me wrong, everything he wears is super expensive. Like nothing's cheap on him. But yeah, you're right. He's less flashy.
Yeah.
Than his girlfriends kind of like pushed out to be. So yeah, with Yeezy, he's had about 8 seasons, if I'm correct.
Yeah. But before he had Yeezy, he had another collab with APC.
Yes, that is true. And that is when we see like these $100 plus t-shirts, and
it's like the start of the Yeezy like aesthetic.
Yeah. And then after that, we probably have like the biggest kind of collaboration that he's ever been a part of, and that is him and Adidas.
Yeah.
And that was in direct response of like leaving Nike behind, moving to Adidas, where it was implied he was valuable.
If someone did that, I just don't know why I never really picked up on this stuff. I probably wasn't a big enough fan of like these exploits.
Mm-hmm. But
say like Nike Air Jordans, one of the Nike's most popular shoes. If Michael Jordan moved to Adidas, would that not seem like the biggest deal in the world?
It
to
was a big
switch.
deal,
but like I don't I don't remember it feeling like, whoa, like the ground's shaking, but maybe I just didn't follow.
Yeah, I think you didn't follow it as much, because I do remember people being like, why would you walk away from Nike?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, why would you do that? And I think that's what made it.
You know what? I also really feel like this has helped Adidas, because at one point Nike was just everything, right?
Yeah.
They were by far the king of athletic wear. Their shoes were better. Everything was deemed better. And I think this has helped Adidas's like up.
We cannot forget that since Kanye partnered with Adidas and had this massive success, we've had Ivy Park.
Yeah.
Which is massive as well. And that is like a very collection focused. But the fact that like we see Ivy Park as a legitimate brand, yes, it's Beyonce. But in terms of like the collections that they put out, it's about the fashion. Like the looks are solid. Like they're not generic looks. Do you know what I mean? You can tell that someone's like designed these pieces in-house to make them like really quite different to what you find elsewhere. And I don't want to like give Kanye credit where it's not due, but in the sense that Adidas became, their brand revived during these like Kanye years.
Yeah.
Is true.
So true. And so, yeah, I mean, it's really difficult to know where Yeezy starts and Adidas ends in all of it, because I know that they stepped back at one point after Yeezy season 1. They stepped back and were just the footwear collaborator. But then in 2016, they popped back up and entered a new partnership of apparel, accessories and footwear. And then like his product, like all this stuff. So I don't I think that was maybe in 2016. Yeah. Sorry, that was 2016. So I'm like, when did Adidas kind of keep, like, how does that work when you're collabing with them? They step back on everything but shoes. They step back in. Like it sounds quite a lot, but his vision has stayed the same, and like you don't notice it in the collections, which I think is important.
Yeah, I think also because he probably retains like intellectual property of like his namesake, his vision and stuff like that. He's probably still able to make collections without them, like clothing collections. I mean, I don't know how their partnership works exactly from like a legal standpoint, but they have been partners for a number of years now, and they've made billions off this.
Literally, the estimated value with Yeezy, I think, is about 4 billion.
Yeah. One thing is that over these years, and it's not just Kanye West and Yeezy, but the sneaker trainers market has really exploded. And sites like StockX, where if you want to get a really coveted piece of sneakers or trainers or like streetwear, you have to like bid for it. You have to sign up to this and sign up to that and wait for the release date and all of that. And I think that's Kanye, Yeezy, Adidas, Nike has all been a part of this movement, where like getting exclusive Nike pieces, or whether it's like the latest Louis Vuitton and Off-White collaboration that came out this week, it's like getting these hard to find trainers. It's been like growing and growing over the past 10 years.
Yeah, I read somewhere today though that he helped develop an app that made it easier to buy Yeezy trainers.
Oh.
Like he worked with Adidas. I don't know if this ever saw the light of day, but because of, like you said, the demand behind them, he helped create an app that meant people could get them.
I do remember Kanye saying something in his like rant, like
like that's what I mean. I don't know if it was just like, I'm gonna help you get them.
Yeah. He seemed quote unquote passionate about, how the more you produce, the cheaper things get, and universal, and everyone can like, it's no longer a $500 pair of sneakers. It's like a £50 pair of trainers type thing. I think he tried to make access to his brand better and more accessible price points and stuff. But really and truly, I know Kanye loves an expensive price tag.
Wouldn't you rather sell out?
Exactly.
Wouldn't you rather people a bit like, is that not a thing that you say to your fans but you never act on, you know?
Yeah. Like, guys, I want every single person to have...
I want you all to be able to own some, you know?
Yeah. And in that same vein, I think that he has... I don't have evidence of this, but I've kind of heard it, that he's had a lot of impact and influence on the Kardashian-Jenner businesses in terms of, like, the model of selling out your product and the level at which they were dressing, all of them were dressing, the business ventures they all went into, because they were associated with such a, like, A-lister as such as Kanye.
So I think this is a good time for me to tell you about my theory.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And when I say a theory, like, it's not overwhelming.
Okay.
But my theory is that, like, without Kanye, there would be no Skims.
100%.
Because Skims is essentially a poor man's Yeezy at times.
100%.
They are, like, tonal sets. It started, obviously, with the shapewear, and she said that it was this amazing technology, that her fabric is amazing. My inclination is to believe that a Yeezy factory makes this stuff. Because of that fabric, and he makes cycling shorts and he makes sports bras. So in my head, that's what she's making. If it's not them, it's like it's all part of that. And I just feel like it is literally her watered down version of Yeezy. And like it's 100% inspired by him. These tonal outfits, the stuff she used to do literally looks like stuff that he was doing.
I would go one step further and say she's not being influenced by him. I think this is his creation.
Probably. Yeah.
Like, and I agree with you, like, with the factory thing, I wouldn't be surprised. I think that'd be a great idea. Why not? Why not have you and your husband in the same factory together? And I know that he owns part of Skims and she owns
part of Yeezy.
Exactly. And it's like, we all saw the reaction to Yeezy early seasons and everyone was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
But we look at Skims.
But the shoes all sold out.
Exactly. All the shoes sold out and things. And Kim is offering a version of Yeezy clothing that's more accessible, wearable, and I think he's like, I think she was showing him designs and he was like, you need to make it like this, you need to make it like that. This is gonna work, this is gonna be good. And if you go out and you wear this stuff and then you put a pair of Yeezys on, people are gonna want to buy both.
Yeah, because she used to walk around in the Yeezy stuff, and like this is also he's clever. So he at points has literally got the whole Kardashian Jenner clan wearing his stuff. They're there thinking they're supporting him. Of course they are. But that's also like 10 of the wealthiest, most famous people wearing your stuff day in, day out. Then you've got like Paris Hilton joining in because she's now Kim's best friend again. Yeah. You have got it reaching places. And so then it's like this organic thing where I feel like I wouldn't even mind betting that he goes, hey, you wear cycling shorts and big t-shirts anyway, you should do your own stuff.
Yes.
Because you wear it anyway, or like, let's create like it for the masses. Because I don't want Yeezy to be for the masses, so you do it. Because that's what it like. And it's then same difference to me with some of the stuff.
Circle, because when Skims, you know what, the Yeezy, Yeezus,
Yeah.
Him.
I didn't even know, like, is it really not politically correct for us to just be calling him Ye?
No, we can call him Ye, it's fine.
No, but like I'm saying, should we only be calling him Ye? We're calling him Kanye. That's not his name anymore.
Oh, is it? Did he change his name?
It is legally Ye.
Oh, I like it. You know what?
If you typed into Google like Kanye West, it would just say Ye.
Ye West. I love it.
No, just Ye.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure it's just Ye.
I think his parents did a really good job naming him, because I think Kanye is a great name. It stands alone. Do you know what I mean? Hold on, Kanye West. Let me Google this.
Oh. Yeah, Ye, American rapper.
Oh my God, you're right. Ye, commonly known by his birth name, isn't?
Yeah. So I don't know if we're being out of touch.
Back in the day when he was called by his government name. No, I love it. Kanye Amari West, great name, I have to say.
Because he's on the Coachella lineup as Ye.
I don't think many people have been told about this name change, because I wasn't.
Well, I think he said it, but it was probably one of those things of like, yeah, you're going to be president, like, you know.
Yeah. Okay. I've now lost my train of thought. What am I doing?
Basically, the Skims. You said Skims.
I can't remember, guys. We can move on.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
But so, yeah.
Anything else on Ye?
So one thing that I feel like is a great example of his influence.
Yeah.
I'm going to say 2 words. Shutter shades.
Oh my God, I just had flashbacks.
Yeah, like if you're too young for this, I'm sorry. When he wore those shutter shades, I think it was probably like the AMAs or MTV Awards,
yeah.
something like that.
Fifth moment, I think.
I think it was that same awards, but he wore them for a while. He did wear them for like a year.
He did, yeah.
But I think it might have been, the Taylor Swift incident as well. I'm trying to think what song they're associated with. Is it American Boy?
Oh.
Stronger, sorry. Yeah. And these shades were everywhere. You would see them on nights out. There were just these cheap plastic, I don't even know if they were expensive glasses. Probably not. They were everywhere. Anywhere that sold sunglasses started selling these things. They were huge. They were everywhere.
But no one took them seriously, because you would only buy them at those guys who come, you go to like a nightclub and those guys come selling you like roses at the end of it.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, do you want these shutter shades?
Yeah. But they were everywhere. And that wasn't even like, oh, it's so fashionable. It was just the thing.
Yeah.
And as soon as I was like, I remembered them today, and I was like, that man has a lot of influence, whether we want him to or not.
Yeah.
That is how he's got to where he's got. And I think people like him, and this I think is also a real designer instinct, that are the people who go far.
Mm-hmm.
Are they like, he probably put them on and someone's like, what are you wearing those for? Mm-hmm. And he's like, trust me, these are cool, trust me. And they weren't. But he made them cool. He made it a moment. And I think that's that sort of belief he has in himself, but also I think designers have to believe that if you're pushing the boundary a bit, you have to believe, like, just you wait. You wait.
I agree. May we all have the belief in ourselves that Kanye West has in himself.
Oh, I don't know if that would be a safe world.
Imagine.
No, but yeah, I think maybe it's not the belief that is the problem, though.
No, I think don't get me wrong, like, I think he's arrogant and he's got a lot going on. But I would be lying if I didn't say there's something about him that we could all use a little bit more of.
Yeah.
and like use to our advantage, whether it's like belief to just go for something, you don't know where it's going to take you, don't know if it's going to work out, but you go for it, or you have the conviction to walk away from something and be like, you know what, I'm worth more.
Yeah.
Whether that's any aspect of your life, I think that, I
agree. And also, I'm a big fan of his music. I think it was like, maybe it was like a day in lockdown. I used to listen to it a lot when I worked late. I'd be a bit angry that I had to work late, and I would just get that on, get in the zone and design, because I was just like, I just need something that's gonna like
influencing you.
I love him. And then I think I had like a day in the flat, and my flatmate was in the bath, and I was just going for it. She's like, didn't realize Kanye West was in the building. But yeah, I love him. I'm not the biggest fan of Yeezy. Like, I actually think the trainers are cool from time to time. I'm not the biggest fan of all of it, but I also respect what he's doing. Yeah, and also, like you said, people were kind of like, what is this? And he didn't change it. He knew what he wanted it to be, and he stuck with it. And there are people who buy it. The footwear is probably what drives it anyway, because like footwear and accessories are huge.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of time for the fact that I think he actually puts the work in. I think he isn't the like.
That's a good point.
I think he is the person going, I don't like that. He's not pulling a Kendall of whatever company she's doing. No. Like, he is there going, that's not good. No, he is that. I believe that.
Yeah, same. I do. I think he's going as not just like, I like this, I like that, but saying, I'd like to see something.
I want to see this.
I would go as far to say that he probably says he has a lot to say about the financials as well.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to spend the money on this. I'd rather spend my. Do you know what I mean? There are a lot of celebrities. Okay, like Kylie Jenner, let's say. I don't think she does any of that stuff. I think she picks the colours and the texture of lipsticks and whatever. But on like a more, everyone else takes care of the business. I think he has an interest in how everything operates.
Yeah.
And I think it would be unfair for us to say that he doesn't put in the work, as he said.
Yeah.
I genuinely think he works.
And I think that, like you said, that's rare. And I think that maybe that's why he's a bit cuckoo sometimes. Who knows?
Oh, yeah, we'd all burn out and lose our shit after a while, wouldn't we?
Yeah. But there is a consistency. Like, his music is always good. And like creatively, he knows where he's at. He found the thing he's good at, for sure.
Yeah.
Or things.
Yeah, I agree. So
I feel like this might be a polarizing topic, you know?
Really?
Because some people just love to hate him, man. Because he's bonkers and he says stupid shit.
Yeah, you're right. So what is our poll this week?
Do you like Kanye West? No.
What's your favorite Kanye West like item, aesthetic influence or something like that?
Yeah. Like, is it stuff that he's worn? Is it the Yeezy vibe? Shutter shades.
Yeah. God, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Kanye.
It'd be nice to know who's got a pair of Yeezys, because there's a lot of them out there.
Yeah.
I remember like a couple
you know what? I would love a pair of Yeezys one day.
Stretchy ones.
Yeah. I would really like them, but
I always think about, does your foot fall forward because it doesn't have a solid toe cap?
Don't know.
I always think you'd be slipping around in them. No? That's a thought I have a lot.
I'm not giving it a single thought, to be honest. I think they'd be fine.
Okay.
But I don't know. If you have a pair of Yeezys, does your foot fall forward? I love
it. Well, thanks again for tuning in to another episode of Style Over Substance, guys.
Don't forget to check out our Instagram or Spotify to respond to this week's poll.
Bye.
Bye.